So we back again with another episode of Sage Talk. Today we are going to be talking about, or not talking about, but responding to The Secret of Selling to a Negro, which is a 1954 film financed by Johnson Publishing Company, the publisher of Ebony magazine, to encourage advertisers to promote their products and services in the African American media. The film showed African American professionals, housewives, and students as participants in the American consumer society, and it emphasized the economic power of this demographic community. It was shot in Kodachrome color and features like Sinclair Weeks, who is the Secretary of the Department of Commerce. And then it premiered again in July 1954. So before we go ahead and get started, and before we go ahead and open up and get into the video, what I want everybody to do is go ahead, hit that like button, please, hit that share button, please, and go ahead and subscribe for me, please. Go ahead and do all of those things. And please leave some comments down below and tell us what you think about what's going on and what we, are about to discuss. And so head over to thegildedsages.com and head over to our YouTube. Subscribe to both of those. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this.
Market, a big new market. Millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend. That's right, I said $15 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it? The surprising thing is that it's a fresh market, still full of opportunities. It grew up so fast, got so big in a hurry, that few of us realize its scope. Now these days, nobody's likely to pass up chances to sell. And yet right here in our own front yard, there's a neglected market. There's money waiting to be spent. To get the story of this market, to be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, the customers, and the salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras and other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story, the story of a new market. Yes, this is the market we're talking about, the new Negro Family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Green. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of the 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. There are good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they are overlooked prospects.
Before I go on, I just wanted to hop in and say real quick, because I always hear us talk about the buying power of Black America, which is like, I guess, $1 trillion. But I don't think we juxtapose that to the reality that our wealth is going to be hitting zero by 2050. And so it's interesting to always hear people talk about that as a good thing when it's just consumer power. And then it doesn't even account for the other communities who consume way more than that, but not relative to, we're the only community who has a higher consumer rate than our actual community worth. Just thought.
Why? Because of some good, valid reason? No. They're overlooked because of mistaken ideas, because of out-of-date ideas about how the Negro lives and how he buys. The truth of the matter is that the Negro lives pretty much the same as those folks. He buys pretty much the same way too. But just the same, a lot of old doubts and opinions keep cropping up over and over again.
I don't like to do business with Negroes. They're drifters. You can't keep track of them.
Yes, although a lot of people think that way, the truth is that 1 out of every 3 Negro families living in cities today owns its own home. That figure comes directly from the United States Bureau of Census.
Maybe so, but Negroes are poor credit risk.
Not more of a credit risk than any other group. Actually, the Negro home buyer meets his payments faithfully, often more faithfully than other race groups.
And it's amazing to me, this part, because you get to see actually the time span in which our forefathers had that space of accruing the little bit of wealth that now accounts for all of the wealth we have in 2021. So you're talking about basically how this group right here, which would be like boomers and older Gen Xers, basically are the same ones who hold that wealth today and are the same ones who are basically capitulating to these standards that he's talking about. Precisely. We're going to keep listening, people. Stay with us. Stay with us.
In the same economic level. That's the information we got from people who want to know. The National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well, maybe, but I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer. But when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been uncovered. For a first-hand report, we would like to take you directly to the United States Department of Commerce to hear this story from the Secretary of Commerce himself. Here is the Honorable Sinclair Weeks, the Secretary of Commerce of the United States.
In the Department of Commerce, we are constantly alert to trends that mean a healthier national economy, better business for the nation as a whole. Recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. The tremendous buying power of this group is backed, of course, by an increased earning power. The average Negro family's income is at a record high. In fact, since 1939, it has increased more than the average income of all other Americans. Just take a look at a few figures. An official Department of Commerce report shows that at least 1/3 of the Negroes living in cities earn from $2,000 to $5,000 a year. Today, the average Negro wage earner brings home a paycheck 4 times larger than the one he collected in 1939.
Slim. Go check out our minimum wage video. We're going to drop that junk in the link below, but go check out our minimum wage video. That's nuts. $2,000 to $5,000 annually?
Man.
Did he just say annually?
Annually.
Annually?
I would love to see what that is adjusted
Annually?
to now.
Annually?
Yes.
Slim, stop it. Check out our minimum wage video. We had the good brother Marcus Goodwin on. We're going to be dropping that.
As a whole, the Negro market has a total income of about $15 billion every year. And after taxes, Negro families still have many billions of dollars to spend. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact.
This new buying power has resulted in a class Negro market.
I know this is 1954, but yo, that might be the nicest thing a politician said since.
I mean, they were more honest back then.
Yeah, but it's like for someone back then to have those types of things to say and to just fast forward it, and you go into our lifetime. Like in our lifetime, what was the nicest thing a politician had to say to our community? The fact that you got to think that far back and that long is concerning. Because this is your profession.
The nicest thing I got was the truth from Donald Trump. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Because everything else be lies.
Equitable, above average income group of consumers. For example, the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization, Daniel Starch and staff, reports these significant figures. More than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set. And almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. It is also a fact, and this is from the magazine The Food Field Reporter, that Negroes spend almost $3 billion a year for food alone. Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look at these shoppers. Notice what a large proportion of them are Negroes. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of Central City consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore.
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there. I just thought that was interesting in terms of, because I don't have much to say outside of the stuff that I had already brought up and mentioned. I think one being the fact that you're talking about a group of people who believes in theories like powernomics, in terms of assessing a group through its spending power and not through its wealth. I think that's highly problematic. I think it positions us in a wrong way. Is why you can be in a pandemic. And again, in this particular instance, I am not, I would say, the best, I guess, advocate, because I too fall short sometimes when it comes to consumerism. I think America, to be fair, is built on consumerism, which is why I also don't necessarily shun Black people, African American people to that extent, those people to that extent, just based on the fact that America is built on consumption. America is consumerism and has it at its heart. So I don't think that us wanting nice things or wanting particular outcomes or particular garments is a bad thing. I think it's just, again, going back to the realization that we never got that economic access because of that economic violence that America perpetuates. Death of a Nigger Boy was about, how to culturally castrate yourself to be able to access the economic apparatus of America. I think that plays out, like, even when you talk about, how Black women get shunned for like wearing wigs and et cetera, even though I don't prefer them, I understand that that wig or putting your hair in that particular style allows you and affords you to matriculate and be accepted in a lot of different ways where otherwise you wouldn't. So I think um, them marketing and figuring out how to sell to the Negro was definitely pivotal, was definitely masterful, especially because when you look at this, they're selling them through the items themselves. So you're trying to get to this status that comes along with whiteness. So yeah.
Um, as far as me and my perspective on it, I really chose this because what it shows, and I really want POCs in particular in the comment section. I really want you guys to really understand that us as ADOS African Americans were the first model minority. All of the statistics, if you look at them and you compare them to every other group that immigrates into America, they're fairly the same. When we were given the same, that brief period of time when we were given that opportunity, we produced those same outcomes that you see within the Asian community, that you see within the Jewish community, that you see within all of these other communities
The
that
Latino
we
community,
exactly that we uphold.
El Salvadorian community.
Exactly. So what this video is showing you, what these statistics are showing you, even though they're 1954, this was us in that period of time that other groups are in now. And that something in between this time and 2021 happened. And
I can tell you what happened. What happened is that's the beauty of having or being able to exploit immigration. America exploits immigration in that way. Everybody doesn't necessarily or is aware of the trends of America and how it weaponizes racism. So that's why you get a lot of people who are like, "Oh my God, I'm so shocked." Or, "Oh my God, I would not, like, how could they ever?" Because they're not aware of how America, even though it isn't malicious or violent overtly all of the time, co-ops a lot of different things. Like you said, tokenism was born in and out of uh, African Americans, descendants of slaves, and it has just morphed into now your tokenism comes through being a quote unquote PLC in a lot of different ways, or comes through still being an African American, but being or willing to participate in being a quote unquote model minority. So it's a concept that uh, goes and moves across all different communities, but it is what it is. And so, did you have anything, man?
uh no, I'll save it for part two. Part two gets spicy.
Okay. So, with that being said, everybody go ahead, head over to our website, thegildedsages.com. Go over, subscribe, check out the content. Head over to our Instagram at The Gilded Sages. Then also, last but not least, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, please and thank you. And leave some comments in and about at the bottom. Like, tell us what you think. Like, do you think that selling to the Negro is selling from this perspective, whiteness and status? Do you see the pattern in terms of turning people into model minorities? And you can comment on all of these different things. Consumerism. And should we be the only group who shouldn't be able to participate in consumerism due to not being able or being in a specific position? So that's that. Go ahead, hit that share button one more time before we head out. Hit that subscribe, please. And we're going to catch y'all. This is Gilded Sages. And we back again. We out. Thank you.